Hello, welcome everyone to Rad Pod and Chill. We're having some fun now.
Oh yeah.
I was telling my co-hosts and dear friends, Jim Stewartson, High Fidelity, Sean Connor, I'm Heidi Kuda, that I picked a really bad 2 decades to stop drinking because I've been flying for the last almost 6 hours. And of course, any flight over 5 hours, it's mandatory that there is a screaming child in the row that you're sharing. And there was the entire time. And as Jim said, do not give any advice, just be cool. And I was just cheesing, being very reassuring. But I will say, as we were deplaning, the mother of this child started laying into the stewardess, started just going off on her. And I ran really fast and I just started saying, Karen alert, code red, Karen alert, code Karen alert. And all the other stewardesses were laughing their ass off. Imagine having a unhappy kid for 5 hours and then chewing out the stewardess. That is some Karen bullshit. That's all I got to say. And I do apologize to the nice Karens out there, but
people suck, man.
They do.
No. Hey. I would like to just say now for the record, the secret to travel in this day and age. Hell, this is how I grocery shop.
Xanax.
Noise canceling headphones and sunglasses.
And Xanax.
You don't look at anybody, you don't hear anybody. It's just easier.
Oh my God, it's so true. And what's funny is it was so it was so disruptive, and it's cool. Many of us have been there. That it actually neutralized the guy sitting in front of me who was hacking up loogies the entire time, but at least was gracious. At least gracious enough to have a mask. Anyway, that's all. We're gonna have fun tonight because I need to relax. I need to chill. But I am in Boston, as my bros and my friends know, because my daughter's graduating tomorrow from the same college that Hillary Clinton went to, and I've been filled with all kinds of feelings because,
there you go.
My fight. I moved to LA many years ago to write a book with Ice-T, and I had been reading a lot of Malcolm X. And so I always, had a social justice side, but then I got into the Fox system for about 15 years and some of it eroded, not all of it, but some of it. And when my daughter started doing poetry at 15, she really, got me back in. My kids drew me back into what was important. And one of her first viral poems was called Countdown to a School Shooting. And nobody at age 15 should be writing poetry about countdown to a school shooting. But so much of my activism is tied in with my daughter's activism, and just being back here and realizing when I started writing in 2016, I made myself persona non grata in the media, which I was a kind of a likable chap, but after I started writing the truth about Trump, it got real quiet. And so I have all kinds of feelings right now, guys. I got feelings.
Yeah, we should put that performance in the chat too. It's absolutely remarkable. How old was she? She was 15. Is that what you said?
She was 15 when she wrote
incredible.
It. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's an ensemble piece. There's three people involved. It's really, really remarkable.
Yeah. That was really part of the beginning of this journey, and right around the time I was writing a lot about the corruption of Trump in 2016 was right around the time my dog got accepted to Wellesley, and I started to kind of see how this world goes. You've got yin and yang, and it's kind of always been like that since I've been doing this. And anyway, so here we are. I'm so glad that we're here and that we can share this journey together, and been getting a lot of positivity and love because people do rely on us to do the investigations that we do in order to help them navigate their way in a time of terrible deception. I've been thinking a lot about all the people I've met along the way. Even in 2017, when I first went to the first Wellesley Parent Weekend, I was supported by somebody who supported my activism even back in 2017. That's how I actually was able to do that. So I have a lot of gratitude and a lot of emotion, So anyway, that's what's up.
Well, Chad, I just put in the in chat there. I put in Heidi's daughter's performance of Countdown to a School Shooting. So that's the YouTube link for anybody who wants to check it out. Thank
you. Yeah, I figured I'd be retweeting stuff, and I'm going to do a lot of writing this weekend. And I'm super happy and all those feelings that we get with our children, but I also realize the times in which we're living and how vital it is that I've talked to a lot of people who are just over it and they're just putting their head in the sand. They just can't deal with it anymore. We don't have that option. Right. We four don't have that option.
None of us do.
No.
Nobody does. And anyone who's doing that, like, if you know somebody like that, go grab them by the fucking head and pull it out of the sand.
Yeah.
Because we are real close, guys. We're real close. To bad things, and I know Heidi is talking about a lot of emotions, and I don't think I'm going to reduce them, because look, there are a whole bunch of different components being arrayed against us at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Some of them
intentionally.
Some of them had started 50 fucking years ago when they started trying to undo Roe v. Wade after it got done. For 50 fucking years, finally getting a 6-3 Christo-fascist majority on the Supreme Court, right?
Yeah.
So there are all these long plays happening, but then in the short term, you've got this extreme, violent strain that has been. Here's the thing that is the most troubling to me is that. What we're seeing now is the radicalization from pre-16.
Yeah.
Like it's just the new guys that are just sort of that started getting radicalized after 16.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that are just starting to pop up now. Like the Buffalo guy started in May of 2020, right?
Yeah.
It took him a couple of years to get radicalized to the point that he would murder 10 grandmothers and grandfathers in a fucking supermarket, right?
Yeah.
So yes, we're here to chill, let's have feelings, but if you see people with their head in the sand, like they're working against us, right? And we are at the point where everybody who isn't in favor of a theocratic fascist ethno-state needs to fucking wake the fuck up, get their heads out of the sand, pull the heads of their neighbors out of the sand, and start confronting this thing. Otherwise, we are done.
Yeah. I also need to. I also need to point out. So much. The school shootings that are occurring. Isn't it interesting that they're starting to occur now? We have the grocery store shooting. What this is doing on a mega scale, on a greater scale, is it's actually exacerbating the gun rights argument and pitting the two sides against each other even harder, right? This is, if you look at the social effects of all of these things, right?
I mean, look what the 3 last mass shootings have been. It was against black people, it was against Asian people, and now it's in the Hispanic community, right?
Yeah.
It is not an accident that the targets of all of these things are the exact scapegoats of the fascist insurgency that's trying to take over our democracy. Like,
okay, so
is there a straight line? Did somebody train these fucking people? I think in some cases the answer is yes. I don't think in all cases, but this
enough of them that it's not a coincidence.
This kid in Buffalo, the kid in Christchurch, and the guy in Oslo were identical. Like fucking.
I got 2 things to say to put a fine point on this. Ruth Ben-Ghiat, I have the honor and the privilege of being part of her security team every Friday for her kind of it's sort of a communal lecture and swapping of knowledge on, obviously she's a historian on Italian fascism, but she frames the news of the day in the way that the media cannot, in the way that we try to do ourselves here on the show. She wrote the other day that systemic gun violence is part of the Republican political design to destabilize American society.
Yeah.
Prove her fucking wrong, because
No, it's look, the fucking NRA in the 90s got
sheer chaos. Yeah.
got infiltrated by the literal Russians
Yeah.
and started corrupting the thing and turned it into what literally used to be the place where the gun safety laws were actually created. Right,
Wow.
the NRA wasn't always like some insane, bloodthirsty fascist psyop, right?
That's right.
It was actually the National Rifle Association. It was like old guys fucking shooting guns at the shooting range or whatever, and they came in, and we have 1.2 guns per person. We have 400 million motherfucking guns in our country.
Yep.
And the entire reason is because we are too feckless to stop them from pushing through this bizarre ass Second Amendment interpretation that nobody who understands the English language believes.
Well, I got 3 points. Let me do 2 and 3, and then Sean, I know that you have something for us.
Yes,
Number
I do.
2, Jim and I have been friends now and colleagues going on 2 years. We celebrate 2 years, I think, in July. And he has been screaming as loud as he can that the numbers are huge, this is getting worse, everybody wake up, and then he makes his predictions. And every freaking time it occurs, every freaking time it actually does get worse and worse, and still we sit here and it just continues. And now we are learning more and more people suffering from despair and how long this has all taken are tuning out, which is exactly the wrong thing to do, as Jim just said. It's exactly the wrong thing to do.
But it is the point. It is the point, right?
Yes.
Like this. So the reason why they're coming at us from all of these angles, right? These acute ones with with this fucking violence, with all of this in the long term, is because this is a psychological war.
Yeah.
And it's until it's starting. You can see the press, right? Like they've gotten over the whole cult thing. They're all into that now. They get the brainwashing. They're starting to fucking get the basic ideas that we've been yelling about for a long time.
Yes.
But years.
Yeah, but I don't but they're not yet, and neither is our government yet, like fully grasping this point. The big point, which is that, no, this is an attack. It is warfare on our country. And it's happening. It's been happening in slow, long game ways, but now it's happening acutely. And it's going to get worse because I believe that for a lot of these guys, they think 2022 is endgame. They think this is it. Like Mike Flynn has no more fucks, no more mask, no more nothing. He's just a straight.
Oh yeah, he's off the chain.
Right.
Just straight up fucking not Hitler #2. Trying to go down that road. There's just no hiding it anymore. And the Republicans are just a full on fascist group, right?
You guys all remember why we couldn't get any tobacco legislation, because big tobacco was at the table. We have lots of trouble getting any oil, things passed related to climate change. Big oil's at the table. So I asked Martin Scheel, our financial consultant, why doesn't reasonable gun control ever get legislated in the U.S.? And he said those
lobbies
who control the majority of political contributions to individual congresspeople are involved in gun legislation. But beyond that, I did a whole bunch of threads at 2 a.m. this week with stuff that Marty fed me. We can't do things like expose those shell companies, expose the beneficial owners. We can't get some basic shit passed. You know why? Because there's lawyer industries, accounting industries, art dealer industries. There's all these industries built up around protecting the corruption. And this is,
It's
this is
It's
why.
it's protecting the money, Heidi.
Yes.
It's protecting the payments and that's
So,
that. I mean, it's the amount of money they're spending, and then you include the dark money, the Russian, the foreign money coming in. It's just
so
ungodly
how's
amounts of
this
money.
gonna end, guys? How's this gonna end? I am here in Boston. What did we do before? How's it gonna end? I don't want it to end in some kind of civil war where
Citizens
people are
United
fighting against each other.
We are in my view, and I'm sorry to say it, but I think I wasn't at this point until recently. I think we are at the point where there is going to be a major disruption in our society, and the question now is what is going to be on the other side of that, right? Like it is going to be an opportunity for somebody, and it could be the opportunity for the fucking people who don't want a theocratic fascist state to fix our fucking government so that we don't have people running around committing treason and nobody does jack shit about it.
I know, and I don't want to see any more
none
children
of this
die.
would be a problem if they would just go fucking arrest those people and shut the propaganda down. It's not hard. Like,
it's not. I don't know what the fucking problem is.
Right.
And the evidence isn't public. There's nothing. They're trying. I guess this fucking the January 6th committee is gonna put on a big giant primetime show.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome. But that's not arresting people.
Right. So we need arrests, and also, guys, Ruth Ben-Ghiat's mother used to watch RT. She loved Putin, voted for Brexit. She's in the UK. Guess what? As we all know, the UK, powers that be in Britain were like, oh my God, we've got this propaganda monster. Let's shut it down. It only took Ruth's mom like 3 days before she hated Putin and regretted voting for Brexit because she started watching BBC. We can do it, Jim.
It's that simple. It's that simple.
Who's going to get up there and say our amendments are being weaponized and this is never the intent and we're just going to stop it? We're going to stop it. Who's going to do that?
We're doing it right now, and more people can spread the word and listen.
We cannot boil the ocean, right?
Yeah.
The first thing, in order for any of this to slow down, right? It's the people out there. It's the fact that they've got 35% of people out there that are willing to do this crazy shit for them. Right?
Yeah.
To go to school boards, to pressure people, to run for shit they're not qualified for and harass the other people off the ticket. Like all of the stuff that they're doing to infiltrate, right?
Yeah. Right.
So, Jim, let me mention on that note. So, Gal mentioned in the chat about the opportunity for this to use AI and facial recognition. They were actually in Uvalde were using AI. So they had instituted already a program and it just completely failed.
Wow.
So they had adopted a program they were using an AI program which was crawling social media, and it just completely missed it. So
let's have a happy moment. Let's have a happy moment, Sean. Let's have a happy moment. Beto O'Rourke. Beto O'Rourke giving a big fuck you to Abbott. That's a happy moment.
That was a happy moment. The sad moment was finding out that was the mayor that was yelling and cursing at him to get out of the auditorium.
Exactly, and that's exactly it, right? It's like the mayor of the town where these fucking kids are murdered,
right?
Is yelling at Beto because Beto wants gun control, right? Like calling him a son of a bitch and all this shit. Like,
my takeaway wasn't that. My takeaway was we need bold leadership, and if he's going to get up there and say the things that we all I wonder how much money he raised yesterday because I told everybody to donate.
It was great. I felt I was very, very, very proud of that.
That is what you do. That is the only way you look. Fascism is a giant bully. It's all it is, right? It's a fucking giant bully, and you've got to stand up to it. Yeah. And it's hard. It's scary.
Punch it in the face.
And sometimes you get punched, but
on that note, we gotta.
So what? We've all been punched before. We just get back up and keep going. That's how we're.
I get back up.
Cleveland.
So on that note, this is a good one. We can start. So there's 3 anagrams tonight, guys.
Okay, let's start.
They're all. Here's the base. This is all 3 anagrams. All right.
All
Oh,
right, here we go.
Oh, okay, we go.
man.
So there's
Oh,
three.
man.
There's three, all the same, using the same. But here's the first
I'm
one.
scared. Oh, everybody screenshot that, please. Everybody screenshot that. Oh my
That's
god.
fucking.
I
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
like
So that's
the
the-
looniest fanaticals.
That's the first one.
That's
Yeah.
so great.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Connor.
Ludius Fanaticals are in it. That's the first one. So that's the good. That's the most humorous one. They get progressively more dark.
Okay.
Oh,
As they
no.
should. As they
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
Oh, I don't
So
know
that's
if I can take it.
Yeah.
All right. Stay tuned. We have 2 more anagrams coming up.
Two
on
more
Gunfight
anagrams.
and Shit.
So,
The darker
so-
anagrams.
Everybody's like, tell me the anagrams now.
I
Yeah.
need
Hey,
a,
guys,
I
hold
need
on,
a
hold
happy
on, I gotta-
palate cleanser.
We
I
need
need
to
a
keep
happy
up our
palate
ratings.
cleanser.
Here's a happy
palate
palate
cleanser.
cleanser. I saw somebody drop the name Chomsky in the chat. Okay, at this point in
Mhm.
time, Noam Chomsky, the way he's fucking behaving, he can fuck off. Sorry.
Okay, that's a
This-
that's a
That's a
happy
happy
moment.
moment.
High five.
Fuck off, Noam Chomsky.
He's
All
old,
right.
man. He's old.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I got a happy moment.
It's still not acceptable.
He's
Still
always
not
had
acceptable.
one toe in the weird
Yeah,
world.
whatever.
I like
he-
Chomsky. Chomsky's got some.
He's an interesting thinker. He's
Oh, yeah.
largely harmless, but
I got a happy moment. Paul
He's so-
Nyland. Paul Nyland's video.
Paul Nyland was
Happy
awesome.
moment. Happy moment.
Right.
You have that video, Connor? It's
Yes,
a
of
really
course.
shitty clip. I just screenshotted it off my
Oh,
iPad.
I was wondering about that. Yeah, here
Yeah,
it is.
super crappy, but just listen.
The liberation of Ukraine is going to lead to the downfall of Vladimir Putin, and those are both good things.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
This is great. Yeah,
Yes,
there it is.
Paul.
I mean,
Yes.
You
I
would
love
replay it
him.
again?
He lives in Ukraine, so it better work that way.
He told the most beautiful story about how he had to give up his bulletproof vest to a soldier's mom because he was going to go back for his second tour, and he needed a bulletproof vest. So the mom made an appointment to come pick up Paul's, and she called because she was so upset, or so concerned because she was going to be 20 minutes late to go pick up the bulletproof vest. And he said, and then she brought like chocolate bars for him. And he said that to him embodies the beautiful spirit of the people, the Ukrainian people and the country that he calls home. And he also, said, and the other thing he said is, as generous and loving and kind and good-hearted as these people are, if you fuck with them, it's almost like an Irish thing. He said, it's like, man.
Oh no,
You
that became clear real quick. It was like this sort of modest country, like over there somewhere, right? And all of a sudden, Zelensky's like, "No, bitch,
It's on.
fuck you! You are not coming in my country. Watch." And did it. It's been insane. That guy and that country and those people probably saved global democracy, at least for what?
More leadership like that.
Because if
please.
they had rolled into Kiev and been able to take that position, and we were up against fucking Russia controlled Kiev, we'd be in a very, very different place.
So I have a really good idea. Guys.
Yeah.
Because again, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I'm all up in my feelings, right? And I was thinking how rather than be cherished for being among the people who expose corruption and write about it full time as activism, and often, people like me not sleeping for 6 years, like doing most of my work in the middle of the night because I'm trying to keep a roof over my head. I think it's time that we flip the script somehow and we actually start publicly letting media know that we're not having it anymore, when they're going to quote people that we've already exposed as operatives, when they're going to, as authorities, when they're going to continue to platform propagandists. I think there needs to be a coordinated, effort to come at them and do the Prebundle and start going a little bit harder, instead of just being on the side where we're trying to shame those who are pro-democracy truth activists. I think it's time to shame those who continue to do and promote the propagandists and promote the operatives because
Hey, good idea.
it's killing our country.
Look where that got me.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Hey, who are you talking to, bro? Who are you talking to?
That's pretty much what I do, right?
I know, and we need more of that. We need more of that and bigger support. You should not be the one guy out there going, "Hey, man, I spent some time looking at Alpha Bank. That's a fucking op, and you can tell. You can put it together. You know, you're always that guy, and then eventually people catch up with you. We need more people on deck." And then also, I have some very exciting news. I've been talking to someone who is very involved in orchestrating the protests in front of the homes of the Supreme Court justices. And this particular person wants to force America to have hearings for these justices. And we know which ones we're talking about. We need to expose Kavanaugh. We need to expose the complaints. We need to expose, Clarence Thomas and the, this person, I'm such an idiot. Let's cut it in post. They believe that we absolutely need to force hearings, and I love that idea. Could you imagine?
Look, we should impeach the shit out of fucking Clarence Thomas, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
What are we
doing?
Why are we broken? Why are we doing? Just getting arrested? Isn't that against the law somehow for this fucking Supreme Court justice to be planning over the kitchen table the destruction of American democracy? Doesn't that sound like it should be?
Is there an impeachment process for Supreme Court?
But then there.
What is that?
Oh. Are you talking about? There's been protests in front of the justices' homes.
I'm saying you're saying impeaching the Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, you can impeach that.
With hearings first, public hearings first.
No, I understand that. I just I haven't read or I haven't seen a precedent or when was that done or when was the last time that was done?
They do it. They've impeached a couple, I think, in his Supreme Court, and lots of other judges and shit. Like you can impeach anyone in the judicial branch, but from the legislative, but it's just a pain in the ass. But this guy is just, I mean, come on, it's not. It's like.
I know.
It's obvious.
But here's the thing about going after Kavanaugh and fucking those other ones. They do not belong there in the first place.
No, they're
the
not.
only way to figure this entire mess out is to come to terms with the fact that Donald Trump was in there for 4 years and all of that stuff is illegitimate, including those 3 Supreme Court justices. The American people did not put them in those seats in any fucking way whatsoever, and it is the single biggest failure of American democracy so far, that we have not done anything about that, because it is the central crime from which all of this shit radiates, and it's exactly the reason why Alpha Bank is being pimped by Q and fucking Flynn and Trump and Elon Musk, for fuck's sake. That's why they're all pushing that shit, is because they're covering up for 2016. No one seems to understand that. Why are they doing this shit about 2016? Is because they are trying to stay ahead of the biggest story in the history of America, which is that our fucking election was stolen by the Russians and Michael Flynn.
Yeah. Word. And I want people to remember, yes, Jim. I want people to remember Kavanaugh was the one who proposed the graphic questions for the Bill Clinton Starr probe. You remember that? So he goes back. It's not just that he got an F on the environmental record. It's not just that there were thousands and thousands of tips phoned in against this guy to the FBI. It's that he's been involved in this.
He was one of the most all insiders. He was bred. His dad was one of the major lobbyists for the talcum powder industry, for the cosmetics industry. So his father was incredibly connected. He was one of the most powerful lobbyists. In fact, there could potentially be a case that would he would see in front of him that his dad helped push through in the talcum powder litigation for Johnson and Johnson. But I mean, he's seen that process. He was raised in D.C. and I mean, that's all of his sort of appointments or his clerkships were funneled through the lobbying efforts.
And you know what there is about Kavanaugh that's really important that people need to consider when they're looking at the government is fucking guess who covered up for Kavanaugh's stuff, right? Like the guy who's still in charge of the FBI. Think about that.
Are you talking about Ray?
Yeah.
Ray.
Yeah.
Christopher Wray is the guy who did nothing. Not like that was a blatant, obvious cover up by the FBI.
Yeah.
Like they didn't talk to anybody. They didn't try at all. They took no action at all to actually investigate it, right? And lied about it the entire time. And that motherfucker's still in charge of the FBI. Why do we think shit's not happening right now, right? Like, it's because we're too feckless to realize we have people in these positions that are trying to stop democracy from moving forward in whatever way they want.
We need heroes right now. We need brave, heroic people willing to be the kind of disruptors that will save democracy, not the type that Bannon is looking for, which is to try to burn it down. We need
leaders. We need leaders, but I don't know if we need heroes. We need ordinary people to
we need soldiers. We need people just doing the fucking work.
That would be the hero, though. It is the ordinary people who rise. Yeah,
but we need a whole lot of those. Let's put it that way, right? I'm saying we don't need super extraordinary people.
No,
we just need ordinary people.
Right.
To stop getting dicked around by these narratives, and it's really hard, right? I mean, I've seen it in people I know that I've trusted that just get pulled off into these bizarre ass like narratives. This stuff works, and I think that the primary like advantage people can get right now is a ginormous bullshit meter, right? You need to tune that shit up. Think about who's saying things
to you
and why, right? And arm your friends and your family. Like, let them know how this shit works. And hopefully, if you've watched any of our episodes, much less all 25, much less followed us, like you have some of these techniques in mind, right? You know when a troll rolls into your comments because you talked about one of us or somebody or something they didn't like you know how that shit works, right? Teach other people about it. Let everyone know that this kind of shit is real. This is what is undermining all of it. Is these false narratives that are pushed by people who have malicious agendas.
I will say that Chris Boozy's Kamala Harris report came out, and Boozy, as of just a few hours ago, was still saying, yo, Twitter, what's up? You're still leaving these accounts up there that are using words that I am not going to repeat, even on our loose show. So we really...
Twitter don't like Chris.
Loose. He's coming back, by the way. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be talking about that because it's really important. It's very strange because I'm sure you guys all saw Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland when you were a kid. And I really feel like everywhere I go, I'm kind of treading lightly. Like, I'm kind of like, are you one of them? Or are you somebody whose brain has not been confiscated? Like, like it just within a few words, I can kind of gauge where people are coming from. And I think that's where we are.
You can tell because they have been damaged. Right? Like they're suffering from a syndrome. Like, and you can tell. Because and I wrote about this recently. It's pain, right? Like when you say something, you can see it on their face immediately.
Yeah.
As soon as you say something that contradicts their beliefs in any way, they will fucking
Yeah.
wince. They will push back.
Right.
You can just feel that thing, and it's because they get cognitive dissonance because they're trying to keep two realities in their brain at once.
Yes.
You can't fucking do it.
Word. That's a great way to describe it. I haven't heard you say the two realities, Connor.
Quick question that was raised in chat. I think Jennifer asked, do you guys know, did Dr. Oz win, or is it a runoff? Did he I saw he was
They're doing a recount.
Aren't they
Recount.
still counting votes? Yeah.
I think McCormick probably
Gotcha.
lost. I think Oz probably won by a few hundred votes. I'm guessing based on
That's what I saw.
like what Steve Kardacki said over and over.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
But
yeah.
they're going to do a recount, and God knows what'll happen. I mean, it would have been fascinating, or will be fascinating, if McCormick wins by a few hundred votes, because then the Republican Party is going to have to do the big lie on themselves.
Well,
They already have.
He was exploring the virtues. Yeah.
Wow.
Talking about the mail-in ballots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But at some point, you can
But
only.
Trump's told him to declare victory.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I was going to say, though, what we've learned over and over and over again, studying fascism and authoritarianism, is that, they can only keep the ruse up for so long before they start devouring each other. And so that's already what's happening. When we had Nadine Smith on from Equality Florida, and she talked about how DeSantis is trying to outflank Trump to the right. I mean, it's going to be very interesting when they fracture.
But I keep thinking that too. I've thought that for a long time, right? Like,
Yep.
they keep. What do you mean they're going to primary this guy who's been in fucking power for 20 years? Are they crazy? Turns out not.
Yeah.
Like, the entire point is to push at every single point, all around the entire spectrum of the entire geopolitical, socio-economic fucking, battlefield, on every point they possibly can, as hard as they can, towards this goal of authoritarian fascism. And it works, right? And because I keep thinking too, like, you're trying to run to the right of Ted Cruz? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You're going to run to the right of Trump? Are you kidding? Yes, they are going to run to the right of Trump, right? Like Kathy Barrett comes up, like, with her like batshit story about the whole thing was crazy, and she got 25% in 2 weeks because QAnon endorsed her effectively. Happy news. Because, damn it, Jim, you're always right. But I do want to say, we got some good news out of Australia. We got some good news out of the UK. They do not fucking love conservatives at the moment. And so they've been voting them out en masse. And so all I'm thinking, I think our job, if we choose to accept this job, is all of us collectively have got to get the 100 million people who don't fucking vote. And who said it better than Fred P. Wellman? Yeah. Oh, those who just vote their pocketbook, they're not going to like authoritarianism. They're not going to like it. So how do we get those 100 million people? That is what we need to do. We need them to show up in such crushing numbers that the bullshittery cannot noodle the margins in favor of the crazies. How do we do it?
Well, step one is to get the kids to bug the shit out of their parents, because it's the kids that this really fucking matters to.
That's true. And the kids, as I'm learning, seem to be much more aware of what's really happening. Yeah, and I think Jim had a really good point about that, because this is what they've grown up with, that they are the internet generation. And, so listen, when I want to know the answer to something, I ask you guys and I ask my kids, and Marty, obviously.
I gotta address something. It's been bugging me for a hot minute. Gal Suburban, hi Gal. She asked, why does our messaging suck? The reason the messaging on the left sucks is because the messaging on the left is too fractured. You've got the central leftists and the progressives, and you've got all these little nitpicky little issue voters in between, right? if you look at the Republican Party, they have a messaging machine.
Yeah.
People get hammered with their message.
Right.
I think
Democrats
it's even simpler
have no
than that.
such thing in place.
It's even simpler than that. It's what Fred P. Wellman said. We keep bringing policy pens to a gunfight. So we have to start realizing collectively and working together that it is a gunfight. And one question I was asked recently that I need you guys to answer. I was asked by somebody, why is not the pro-democracy truth activists and the and those who do stand for common sense and truth, why are we not hiring a Filipino troll farm or teams in Arizona?
Thank you.
Why are we not doing that in order to get our messaging out? I'm just asking. I have an answer, but let me hear what you guys have to say. No,
so
you guys tell me.
I'm just going to throw a little wrench in here and say that, and see what you guys think. Philosophically, when you're espousing sort of liberal values and democratic values, those are by nature going to be more egalitarian, more less harsh, less fear-based, less harmful. So the message itself is going to sort of sink beneath a purely fear-based, attack-based, a war-based message. So even though if there is cohesion, it's going to get buried underneath the sensationalism and the sort of authoritarian messaging. But in order to overcome that, Hi-Fi, I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, they really only have one message, right? Which is us versus them.
Right.
That and it doesn't. They can. The thing is, I mean, literally, it's just there is a scapegoat, and we are going to get them. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That is the message of one party right now.
Yeah.
And to Sean's point, the other side, it's perfectly normal for a political party to have different, a continuum, right?
Yes.
It used to be the Republican Big Ten party and shit, and they sort of played around the edges with that for a little while, But the reality is that it's just true that at least at this point, in this extreme version of whatever the fuck republicanism has turned into, like that's all they are is
fear,
us versus them. It's fear. It's and there's one word for it. It's fascism. That is the definition of it.
Yeah.
And it's really not more complicated than that. And I wish people would stop being afraid of using the word, of calling people fascists. Like it's fucking appropriate now.
It's interesting you say that, because we have this debate in Ruth's group, periodically. And am I not here? Am I not?
You're there.
Am I here?
You're
good. Ruth. The reason Ruth doesn't call it fascism is because she says fascism is Jim frozen. Maybe he has to dump out and come back. I want Jim to hear this. Jim, can you hear me?
No, Jim's frozen.
Okay, Jim's frozen. Jim, come back. I'll repeat it. But
Jim.
What Ruth says is that the reason she doesn't use the term fascism is because fascism is a segment of authoritarianism. So authoritarianism is the broader, more accurate term. But so this is what Ruth says, Jim, that she doesn't use the term fascism because authoritarianism is the broader term, and fascism is an aspect of authoritarianism. Exactly. But also the problem.
I mean it very specifically, but okay.
I know the problem with saying fascism is then the person called that comes back with communist, and it's like, so yes.
I don't care.
No, but
that's the thing. We got to stop being fucking afraid of what they're going to think of the words that we use and the things that we say.
Well, they've been weaponizing our words.
Is us being so afraid of calling them what they are. That's what's gotten us to this point. That's why the fucking press is dragging us into this.
I had to correct
mediocrity and bullshit.
They are going to pretend that wherever they're dragging us is the middle. No matter what. Right. They can't fucking help themselves. The only time I've seen it change is the last couple of days when they're all crying their asses off. And that at least that feels real, right?
Yeah.
At least they're actually being affected by this and are actually talking like human beings. And they did it some in Ukraine too. But Amber Heard's on like fucking CNN 3 hours a day. Like really, CNN?
Yeah. Feels kind of weird, doesn't it? So I will say that I corrected somebody that I adore who was using the term woke in a derogatory way. And I just gently said, that word has been stolen because the original meaning was actually something very important. Meant, people who actually understood something, were aware of something, were
Well, what's hilarious about that is they use it. They just took the word. The Great Awakening.
Just like
Flynn's
CRT.
thing is the Reawaken tour. It's all about being woke, right?
Yeah.
It's just being woke into their fucking authoritarian nightmare instead of being woke into being nice to people. Like, and somehow they made it like unfashionable to be kind and care about other human beings and be interested in multicultural democracy.
Right. Yes.
And it's all of us, me included, who allowed that to happen gradually by just standing by while these little fucking things are taken away, right? First they take woke, and now they're attacking democracy, and they took liberal away a long time ago, right? Like, we got to stop giving that ground.
Yes. Just it meant concern for others, and it's so interesting because, again, when I talk about, rather than playing defense all the time, and I've just been obsessing on the idea of a prebuttal. It's like, who wants to continue to allow these unempathetic people to have a platform in any way? I don't want to hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene has to say after the loss of young lives. I don't want to hear what people who pose in front of their Christmas trees with their children. It was one thing when Elvis posed in front of his freaking Christmas tree if he got a new rifle for Christmas. It's another thing to be having your 4 and 5-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is not a message.
And you know what? Despite what just happened, they'll do it again this Christmas.
I know that.
Because the worse it is, the more painful it is, the more devastating it is to normies, the better for them, because they are trying to take our empathy away. They are trying to take the fact that we care that 19 children were murdered. There are still people left who have empathy and emotions and want actually things to be good instead of this nihilistic like cloud that's come over us.
Right. And yet during all this time we still have to celebrate the beautiful things, and I'm going to celebrate tomorrow with my daughter as she graduates magna cum laude. I'm going to say it again. From the most prestigious women's college in the country. I'm just going to say it again. Yeah, I'm a proud mom. I know how hard she fucking worked for that. And all of us have that duty to celebrate these things in these moments, even as we are battling fascism.
Sounds good. Let's.
Hey, I gotta say something real fast.
Let's celebrate an anagram real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
We have 2 more.
We're just going high five. You go first.
Go.
All right. Woke. All right. So I had someone ask me the other day, "Are you woke?" And I said, "Excuse me?" And they said, "Are you woke?" And I said, "I hate to tell you this, but using the expression woke is a bastardization of the Buddhist concept of Satori, which means enlightenment."
Is that Mahayana or Hinayana Buddhism?
Hinayana. But Satori, Zen Buddhism, all of it. So what you're really doing is you're insulting. I have Buddhists in my family, so you're insulting the religion of members of my family.
I think
you want me to respect your religion, but you're insulting my family's religion. What, dude? Come on.
It's a propaganda war.
They don't give a shit.
I think they're saying you're yoked You're yoked.
I want to answer a question. I want to answer a question from chat.
Yeah.
Question from chat.
Audrey says, "How does having empathy hurt their bottom line?" And that is a
great
very good question. And there's an answer
Great
to
question.
it, and something that I've sort of come to the realization. Sociopathy or psychopathy is a superpower in business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a book on that.
Or
Yeah.
politics,
The
especially
psychopath,
politics.
the psychopath CEO. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
psychopath CEO and the sociopath president, right?
Yeah.
Like, dude had zero, no empathy in his body
Yeah.
at all, right?
Yeah.
And that, or shame,
Yeah.
that's a superpower. It's the only way. Like, none of us normal people who feel embarrassed about shit could possibly get up there and say the kind of like awful, like obviously radicalizing shit that he said, but he didn't care. And it's the same thing with guys like Elon Musk, who is absolutely a psychopath. Do not get
certainly
do
behaving.
not fucking
Certainly
like
bad behavior.
I'm telling you.
Hey, who's our other favorite psycho? Who's our other favorite psycho from the
The
Teal
lizard. The
Party?
lizard.
The lizard.
The lizard.
Teal. The sociopathic business model. There it is.
I want an anagram. I want an anagram.
But here, hold on. But here's the thing: if you're in business and you have a problem, right? You are presented with options, right? A sociopath has a lot more of them because their options include shit that hurts other people, and they don't care, right? Whether it's legal, as long as they can get away with it, it doesn't matter. And that gives them a vast array of other very powerful options that people who actually give a shit about humans don't.
That's right. Which is why the Democrats don't have some huge troll operation all across the world, because again, what you're doing is you're engaging in something that's very evil, and when you don't have morals, and when you're a sociopath and a psychopath, you don't care. You just want power. And that there's a big difference. There's a big difference.
And we have got to come to terms with the fact that no, seriously, there are people who don't think the way that we do, and that's the hard thing that people can't get, right?
There seems to be a whole bunch of them too, collaborating together.
They make these assumptions that Trump is as a real person like them who actually cares about anything at all, except himself.
Yeah.
Anyway, anagrams. How about anagrams?
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is gonna be. This is a crazy one, right?
Oh man.
Do it, man.
Ready?
The National Rifle Association.
Oh no, is it too dark for me, Connor?
Oh God,
Jesus, dude.
Oh, okay, that's so dark, Connor.
That's so fucking dark.
Okay, do we have a funny
but
one?
It's not infant atrocities, which would be
it's infantile.
Oh, infantile.
Infantile.
Yeah.
But it's still it cuts a little close.
It's a little weird. Yeah.
There was a dark side.
Let me see the other one again. Let me see the other one again.
Before we get to the other one, Bob. First of all, best name ever, Bob Ross on LSD. Says if your kid's name looks like your catwalk on a calculator, you're probably
Very good.
You know what I found out though about that? I found out it's pronounced, I'm not kidding, AI Archangel.
Yeah.
That's what they call calculator baby. Is AI Archangel is supposedly like her nickname.
I'd rather go back to the days where people like Frank Zappa named their kids Moon Unit, because that's cool. And then Moon Unit,
I
grew up
don't
and
know,
did that great Valley
unless
Girl
your name
song.
is Moon Unit, in which case,
actually, I had a scar.
Or Dweezil, for God's sake.
Dweezil is a cool name and a cool guy. Moon Unit.
What was that? My guitar
it.
tried to kill your mama. That was Dweezil Zappa.
My guitar tried to kill. No, that's
your
Frank.
mom.
That's
is that Frank?
Oh yeah, my guitar tried to
maybe
kill your mom.
Maybe Dweezil did a cover.
Maybe
Dweezil did a cover of it.
But
I'm sure Moses on a motorbike did a cover.
That's a famous Frank.
Oh, yeah, plenty of covers. Yeah.
I'm sure you do plenty of covers.
Let's go.
All right, last one.
Not if it's dark. I'd rather go
It's
back
not.
to the first one. Okay.
No,
It's fine.
look the other way. Avert thine eyes.
Avert your eyes.
Here you
I'm
go.
such a baby.
Eye bleach. You cannot unsee.
I am not a baby, Pee-wee.
Okay, here it is. This is good. This is a good one. This was another remarkable one. I don't know how these things work. I don't propose to know, but check this one out.
Some people haven't been desensitized by the internet, and it shows.
Last one. Ready, guys?
Yeah,
Check this out.
I watch French films.
Oh shit!
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yes. Can you believe it?
That is a
Really?
cold dead anagram right there.
That's-
That is nuts, man.
Crazy,
dude.
That is nuts.
You know, he used to be
Ready?
cool and
Ready?
marching for school,
Look at this
right?
shit.
Yeah, let's
You know what I
do
It
it
used to
again.
be.
Asshole nationalization.
Holy
That's
shit!
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
no,
incredible.
Charlton
Do you guys-
Heston was cool.
Do you guys
back in the
remember that
day.
dude on the stage of the fucking
for
Republican
sure,
National
exactly.
Convention, where
How
he
can I
talked to
forget?
he talked to the chair and shit, and like
Mhm.
what was going on with poor Chuck, man? That didn't look good.
All
Yeah.
all I know is that when I wrote Ice-T's book, we had a great book deal. Simon and Schuster was putting it out. It was all going to be lovely, and then Charlton Heston intervened. So that
Asshole.
guy really. But I gotta say, Touch of Evil. Yeah.
Jane,
I'm.
was it?
That was my jam back in the day.
It may have been Clint Eastwood.
Touch of Evil was Heston, and also he got very involved. I mean, basically, he was the one who was the head of the NRA, or the kind of the face of the NRA at that time. And and when Ice-T's Body Count came out, it was a scene, man.
It was a scene, dude.
It was a scene.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat is talking about we want to inseminate them. What? Oh,
No.
disseminate.
Yes,
Okay,
we want to.
disseminate. Sorry. Yeah,
We
I mean,
wanna-
that's people in our audience. I misread something. What is your problem? Oh my god.
Yeah, I get to make
Oh my
this,
god, dude.
So we have 1 minute left.
Anyway,
Can you take us out
I
with some
think Don
music?
doesn't want to hear about Lizard ever again.
Oh my
Too
god.
bad. No,
I'm just
dissemination, messaging. Everybody
Yes.
in the chat, please post links to our clips. Post
Yeah.
links to our shows. Get your friends to subscribe. Like,
Steal the
Yeah.
anagrams. Steal my
Yeah.
anagrams.
yeah,
Steal
spread the
the
anagrams. Steal
Yeah.
the anagrams.
Nobody can
Yeah.
own anagrams.
Don't be afraid. Don't be
I'm
afraid.
stoked because some young people are watching our show, and I think that we are actually good influences on the kids. Yo,
Is that right?
That's right.
they're good influences on me. That's for sure.
Yeah, the kids know this shit. The
The
kids,
kids are
smarter
all
than
right.
us.
The kids are all right.
The kids are all right. And if we
They're
want
all
the kids
right.
to have a
No.
future, we got to
No.
fuck
Not
with
all
them.
of them.
Yeah.
I know. Not all of them.
apparently.
Well, not all of them. Some are
I
fucking
know.
dickheads.
No,
Anyway.
let's go back to the kids being all right. Okay. No, I know. Not all of them.
The head
but
sand. Remember that whole thing? Yeah.
there are
Yeah, yeah,
some. There are some who are learning from, and they're learning from us, and let's magnify that as much as possible. We're here to say empathy is cool, kids.
Man, to come loudify that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Well done. Well done.
Oh my
We'll see
god,
what makes this yeah.
Whew, we got through it. Whew.
We did.
We good? Good
Yes,
stuff, guys.
go forth and inseminate our message.
Yes.
Do it. Do it.
Go forth and just stay rad, okay? Be rad,
Yeah.
stay rad, and
Stay
help other
fucking rad.
people
There you go.
become rad, okay?
See you guys soon. Bye.
Love you guys.
Oh, y'all.